Well, hello everybody. How are you doing? I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm going to do a little bit of an overview just on the assignment one. What I wanted to do is, if you can see on the screen, you'll see that I have the actual assignment up. Now, of course, according to this assignment, you're supposed to follow these directions, basically step by step, starting from step one all the way down. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to actually do that. I'm going to do a couple of different other things, but I'm going to point out a couple of the things they're trying to show you on here. So you understand that basically what this is showing you is the different ways that you can draw certain things, like lines can be drawn in multiple ways by clicking on the screen, dragging it over. And then again, right over here, if you notice on this thing, it's talking about a line at. Here I've got it highlighted there on the screen, or right here it says at when you're drawing that box around. You'll notice that there's two types here. There's an at. When the at comes up, it tells you that it asks you for either a coordinate system, which is right here, which is x comma y, or a distance and an angle. So the little less than sign means that that's the angle after it. Okay, so it's a distance, 8.5, less than, which is at a certain angle, and then you put the angle in, right? And enter, and it'll draw the line. But of course, to do this stuff, you need to first have a starting point. So in this instruction, you'll see it starts off at 4, 8. So the line command, of course, what's the line command? L for line, and right click on your mouse. Don't forget that. And then it says specify the first point. Well, in this case, they're telling you where they want the first point, which is 4, 8 in the x and y. And everything comes from right here, which is your 0 for your whole drawing. This is your absolute 0 or your origin. That's where it comes from, the XY origin. So when I do 4, 8, if I come over here and type in 4, 8, and I do a line, and all I do is type 4, 8, and you notice it says 4, 8, I hit enter, and right there what it does is it starts the line at 4, 8. So from this corner it's going 4 over on X and 8 up on Y, and there it is right there. Okay, now it says then basically what I'm doing is they want you to draw all the center lines first. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to draw the center lines first. Clearly you can see the lines kind of floating around. And this is, of course, I've already mentioned this in class, so I'm just going over it again for some people who weren't there. But you'll notice that the mouse is kind of free rolling around. You can see the line is kind of doesn't have a fixed angle. It's following you wherever you're going on the mouse. Well, there's a F function called F8 up on your function keys at the top of your keyboard. F8, if I push F8, what happens is now, if you notice, any way I turn my mouse, the line basically stays straight, whether it's horizontal or whether it's vertical. It's just a straight line no matter what I do. Well, if you notice in the blue there, it has a length. And obviously the angle is 0 because it's automatically staying in a straight line. And right there, if you notice, it's got a length. So if you look at your directions real quick, I'm going to bring that up. It asks you to do a 4, 8 is the start point. Then it says to do 8.5 less than 0. Well, I'm already at a 0 angle, right? So if you look at this really quick, do you really need to have this? No, you can just type 8.5 right here. So here I am right here. I'm just going to type 8.5 and hit enter. And voila, it actually draws the length of line that it was asking you for in the instructions. So there's multiple ways to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I undid once. I'm at the same spot. I'm going to do what they ask you to do, which is at. It tells me, it asks me for a distance, 8.5, less than, and it asks me for an angle. I'm going to hit 0. And guess what? It does the same exact thing you just saw me do. But the other way I did it was much quicker. All right? So that's just telling you different ways to do things. So let's go back to those instructions real quick. So I did that. I started this point, got this line in here. Then it says to start another point from another place. So this one is finished, that first line. So that's the first line. So we're going to hit right click, it enters, and it accepts that line, and there it is. Now it's got a new line to start from a new point, which happens to be, so I'm going to do what? Now remember, my right click also brings the last command back. So not only does it hit enter, but also if there's no command active at the bottom, down here at the bottom, there was no active, here I'll show you. Escape key gets me out of everything. And right at the bottom, there's no command, right? So if I just, out here in the thing, just hit right click, guess what? Look at the bottom. Line command's back on. Ask me for my first point. So just like the instructions are saying, 7, comma 5.5. So let's go 7, comma 5.5. There's my new start point of the new line. Now, of course, this is a center line going up because it's creating, I have my first center line, I have my next center line. You'll notice in the drawing up at the top here, I'm drawing this center line and it's drawing this center line right now through here. Okay, so let's go back down to that. So here's all the center lines being drawn, and that's what we're following. So I did it 7.7 comma 5.5. I hit enter. Now it's asking me to go at 90 degrees. Remember, I have my thing up here, so if you notice, look, it's 90 degrees. Can you see it right there next to the cursor? It says ortho, and it's got 90 degrees fixed on it. That's because I'm going vertical. Now, if I was going this way, it's 0. If it's going up, it's 90. If I'm going down, 270. If I'm going to the left, 180. So that's how the angles work in AutoCAD. So 3 o'clock is 0, 12 o'clock is 90, 9 o'clock is 180, and 6 o'clock is 270. Or in this case also could be minus 90. Alright, there you go. So now it's asking me to go up here to the top. So what am I going to do? It asked me to go up at 5 long, at 5 the length, less than the angle of 90. Well, I already going 90, so what do I want? I only want the 5. I only care about the add, I just want the 5. So look, it's asking me, I'm going up, and what is it saying? Right there, I'm just going to hit 5. Hit enter. And guess what? I got my line I want. And what do I do to accept it? Right click. There's my 2 lines. Now before we start all this, you should have created some layers. So you go to Format, go to Layer, and then you notice there's some layers. And also, don't forget, we're in AutoCAD Classic. Let me make sure everybody knows that. Remember, we're in AutoCAD Classic. I believe AutoCAD starts off looking like this. We don't want to use this. There's a lot of unnecessary junk up here that you really don't need to take your eyes off your drawing with. If you know your commands, you should be able to click a letter on the keyboard and get it. So let's go back to AutoCAD Classic. Notice you get a little more. You can go rid of this box. You can get rid of this box here. Don't need those. Okay, you notice how you get more drawing space. Things are a little more cleaner. As long as you know your commands, you should be able to do this. So what we need to do is we need to go to Layer, and let's create some layers. And I believe it asks you to create some layers here at the beginning. It tells you to create border, centerline, and object. So let's do that really quick. Border. Border. And then create another one. Centerline. And what was the other one? Border, centerline, object. There you go. Now when we do this, what we need to do is we need to actually change the line types, because right now they're all continuous and they're all white. So they ask you in here to change the color. So border is supposed to be red. So we're going to change this to red. Just click on it. Make sure you use these colors down here. You don't really need to go crazy and pick special colors out there. Just pick your 9 primaries. That's all you really need. Okay, so hit OK. There's red. Now it changed to red. What's the centerline color? The color is green. So let's go over here to green. There's the green. And then object color. What is that supposed to be? Blue. So let's go with this blue. I'm going to go with the lighter blue so it's easier to see on the black background. Okay, so I believe that's cyan, so we'll go with cyan. Okay, the colors are not so important to me. What's important to me is, can you see your drawing clearly? Can you see all the lines clearly? Can you see things clearly? Remember my introduction, aesthetically accurate. So aesthetically needs to look good. All right, so there we go. So all that's done. We know I have my layers. Oh, but I forgot to change my line type here. Centerline is not a continuous line. It is a center. Now I only have 2 listed here. I want center, so I need to come down here and load a line type. So there's a list of line types that come up in AutoCAD. I'm going to slide down to center. I want the first one, standard one. And there it is. It's loaded. I select it. I hit OK. And it's assigned it to this center line. And that's all I needed. Close this. So what are these things? How do I do this now? There's a way to select items on the screen. It's right click on the screen. It's a box that gets created. It's called a crossing box. right to left, right top corner down to bottom right, bottom left corner is a crossing box. That means anything that crosses these things, regardless, it does not have to put a window around all of it. Only the two crossing areas have to cross it. So right here, if I click this, it selects the whole thing because the crossing selected this whole line all the way through it. Now I have it selected. What do I want to do? These are supposed to be center lines. Escape. And that's what a center line looks like.